On August 24, 1980, Grégory Villemin was born to his parents, Jean Maria and Christian Villemin. The family lived in eastern France, when Jean Maria worked as a factory foreman after being promoted. The couple had just moved into a newly built home soon before welcoming their bright baby boy. By all accounts, the family was happy and successful, but then things started changing. The Villemin family began receiving anonymous threatening letters and phone calls promising revenge against Jean Maria. The letter and call never specified after what the sender wanted revenge for, only that they were seeking it. Over 4 years, the threats continued and expanded to include Jean Maria's parents as well. Then on October 16 in 1984, while playing in the garden, 4-year-old Gregory disappeared. Christiansen quickly noticed that her son wasn't on the front yard anymore, called the police. As the police began their search, Christian drove around the nearby small village in a panic. No trace of the 4-year-old could be found. As the search continued, Gregory's uncle received an anonymous phone call that stated, "I have kidnapped the boy. I have strangled him and I have thrown him in the river Vologne. I have my revenge." The next day, before anything could be further explored, Jean Maria found a letter that appeared to be posted to them at the time Gregory was taken. It reads, "I hope you die of grief, boss. Your money won't bring back my son. Here is my revenge. You." Gregory's body was found later that day near docks in the Vologne River, only 7 kilometers from his home. He had been drowned with his hand and feet bound and his wool hat pulled over his face. His family was absolutely devastated. The case of Gregory's murder, which horrified the French public, became known as a l'affaire de Grégory. The killer was soon referred to as a Le Corbeau, or the Crow, based off of a famous French film that had a similar theme to the threatening notes the family had received. After intense investigation, police had a suspect narrowed down by handwriting expert who analyzed the anonymous letter and a key witness statement. In 1985, Bernard Laroche, Jean Maria's cousin, was arrested and questioned based on a statement from his 50-year-old sister-in-law. But Laroche denied being the Crow, and soon his sister-in-law took back her statement, saying that it had been coerced. Even though Laroche was eventually cleared and freed, Jean Maria stood in front of reporters and made a vow that he believed Laroche was guilty of murdering his son and that he would kill him. But the case took another shocking twist on March 25, 1985, when the handwriting experts determined that Gregory's own mother, Christine, may have written the threatening letters. Only 4 days later, Jean Maria went to Laroche's work, determined to avenge the death of his son, and not believing that his wife was guilty. There, he shot and killed his own cousin as he was leaving the building. Jean Maria was convicted of murder and sentenced to 5 years in prison. In July of the same year, Christiansen was charged with the murder of their son. She was pregnant with twins at the time, but went on a hunger strike to protest her innocence. For 11 days, she refused to eat, and she was eventually freed after an appeal found that she had been convicted with flimsy evidence and no real motive. However, Christiansen's tragedy wasn't over yet. As she was released, she collapsed and reportedly miscarried one of her babies. She wasn't officially cleared of all charges until 1994. And Jean Maria was released from prison after serving only 2.5 years in 1987. After so much turmoil, the Villemin family was still no closer to knowing who had killed Gregory. For decades after Gregory's death, the case continued to haunt France and was reopened and re-examined, with tests done to the letters, the rope used to bind him, and DNA testing on Gregory's clothing, and the saliva on the stamps used to post the letter, but it was no use. All was found to be inconclusive. In 2017, the case was once again reopened, and this time there was new evidence which resulted in 3 arrests. Once again shocking France, Gregor's great-aunt, great-uncle and his aunt were taken in for questioning, along including more family members. The aunt was eventually released, but the great-aunt and great-uncle refused to speak to the police at all. None were convicted. A different tragedy soon struck when the magistrate Jane Michael Lambert, who was in charge of the first investigation, took his own life because of the pressure and criticism he faced with the case still being unsolved. 33 years after Gregor's death, the why of Gregor's death has never been answered, but some cites jealousy within the Villemin's family as a possible cause, and another guesses that the fact that the later called Jane Maria was called mean it had to do with his work. Either way, no real evidence or suspect has been found, but almost everyone in the family has been under suspicion at some point. In December of 2020, the case was once again reopened, but this time police are determined to uncover the real identity of the crow once and for all. New interviews had been conducted and police are relying on a brand new technology called stylometrics, which looks at the style, syntax, punctuation and turn of phrases used in the threatening letter to identify the killer. A new suspect has been identified, but so far has not yet been named. It appears that the murder of Grégory Villemin may soon be solved.